guys, this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day to all those veterans out there, and thank you for your service. Let's get a quick look at the weather here. We got the typical fall turning into winter conditions here. And although we got some temperatures warming up here from some Santa Ana wind conditions, we're going to get right back into this typical fall, cooler days here coming up with the changing of the time and the shorter days in front of us. Just a quick look at our wind forecast here. As you can tell, Wednesday is going to be a little bit bumpy, and some of this stuff is going to linger into Thursday as well. But we got some offshore winds out there that's going to turn into a Santa Ana condition here Thursday. Just so you get a quick look at our weather picker as these things turn up. I highly encourage you to check the wind forecast and the marine forecast if you decide to take your boat out. Sometimes these Santa Anas can ramp up a lot stronger than what they originally forecasted, or quite the opposite. So please make sure you check the weather and marine conditions before you leave the dock. Don't get caught in a bad spot, especially if you're offshore and you got to go uphill all the way home. But as you can tell, the wind's kind of chilled out for the weekend, looking pretty nice. So break out the Swordfish gear. We got the initial Swordfish Open from IGFA happening this weekend, and it's going to go on from the 12th to the 14th. And for those of you that are not familiar with deep drop sword fishing, there's going to be quite a few people out there doing this weekend, and also pre-fishing for this tournament. And I want to make you aware of what to look for out there on the water. If you see one of these nice fancy buoys floating and it's within 2,000 feet of another vessel, I promise you that there is a fishing line attached to it going from the vessel to the buoy and then down approximately 1,000 feet. Please do not pass between a buoy and a boat like that. You're going to make someone's day very not happy, especially if they have a fish on. So please be aware. Give everybody some room out there. If you see people hanging out, usually they have one rod going up and down, and then a tip rod connected to a buoy that's stretched out. It's got another line going on. So if you see this stuff out there on the water, guys, please make sure you give these guys some room. They're going to need it. Let's talk about marine conditions. Still looking really, really good out there. And, just that wind that we talked about. But basically, as soon as this wind dies off on Wednesday, a little bit northwest swell left over 3 to 4 feet at 9 seconds on Thursday night. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all looking pretty good. So keep a close eye on it. But overall, not too concerning. Before we get into the rest of the fishing, big shout out to Grant. If you didn't catch this Bloody Decks thread about the Dana Point launch ramp, let me tell you, this has been a concern of mine and other frustrated boat owners over the past 3 years. But we're very much looking forward to the harbor restoration and rejuvenation. And one of the things that they're working on is putting in a boat stack, which technically should have been completed already for the construction schedule. However, one of the things that they needed to do was to cut. This is the original launch ramp parking. Is they had a permit to cut it in half, and this is the way it's been set up for the past 3 years. Really limited, as you can tell. I mean, for a pretty large ranch ramp, they only have this amount of parking for boats, for trucks and trailers, for day parking. This isn't the storage. Just right here. This is the day use area. No overnight whatsoever. Was not enough ever, especially in summertime. And through a lot of legwork and a lot of homework and reaching out to the harbor, reaching out to the city of Dana Point, it's been discovered that this configuration of the parking lot was only to be allowed during the construction phase. And what we found is that there's been some permit issues with the Coastal Commission in regards to the construction of the boat stack, which has prevented it from actually even getting started, and that they've been turned down and now they have to reapply, is my understanding. So if someone has any more extra information on the construction side of this, please drop a comment and let everyone know what's going on. It'd be much appreciated to myself as well. But from our understanding, the parking lot is going to be returned to its original configuration, this much room for parking trucks and trailers for day use here within the next 45 days. The city's given a written notice to the harbor that it needs to be reconfigured back to its original condition until they get the proper permitting to start construction for the stack. So this is a huge relief for anybody that uses Dana Point Harbor. This has been a tough go-around, so glad to see this work out, at least for now. And then hopefully once that boat stack is in, they'll get to work on the parking structure, and then we'll get this whole project turned right around. But a short-term relief for a larger problem, but we'll see what happens. All right, here's a quick look at our one-day chloro chart. We've had this morning cloud, so not looking that great, and still got some splatter on the chart. Same with our temp chart. The 8-day, unfortunately, it's pretty much the same on the chloro chart, and I don't know what's going on with this, but that's not much to work with, so we're going to work with the 3-day chart just so you can kind of see the trend of what's going on. We got colder water coming down, and it's working its way down and kind of putting a damper on our water temps on Tanner and Cortez. And you can see it's already kind of retreated back here a little bit. And although this area still remains close to the oil spill, I know you guys are out there fishing it anyway until someone tells you not to. But just be advised that technically that area is still closed, and just be aware. Let's talk about the rest of the fishing we got going on. There was a little squid that popped up last week. Catalina, seems that no one's really seen it for a while. That might all change when we start getting to the full moon phase again. I'll see what's going on there. But otherwise, nothing going on at Catalina. No sea bass, no yellowtail just yet. Let's talk about San Clemente. There's been a little bit of yellowtail action popping up in the caves area in Pyramid Cove. And there was a little squid at Persane last week as well. However, there's been some yellowtail popping up in Pyramid Cove, but they're just not really hooking. A lot of people have been getting them to react to bait. Maybe the answer is that you need some squid. So maybe if some of the squid pops up at Catalina, you take that back to Pyramid Cove, or if you try and jig some up in Pyramid Cove, it happens to pop up again during the same moon phase. Maybe you got a shot at some yellowtail in Pyramid Cove. Tanner Cortez Banks, man, it's been a roller coaster out here. As I mentioned, we had pretty slow fishing for us out here last weekend, and then I had some friends that came out here and fished here directly after me, and they ended up having a pretty slow trip as well. But this week seems to be getting a little bit better. Daytime fishing, you're seeing pretty much the 30 to 80 pound stuff most of the day. It's being caught on, I would start off on 30-pound test and a number 2 hook. I won't go to a number 4. It's going to be too small. You end up bending it, and not worth the battle. So start with a number 2. If you can move up to a 1/0, that would be ideal for the size fish that are out there. But you're gonna have to hide it in some smaller baits. So there still has been fish coming off the kite. It's like every day it's different. Some days you have a bunch of really good fishing for that smaller grade stuff, the 30, 80 pound stuff on fly line and sinker rigs. And then some days that stuff slows down. And then some days you just got the kite going. And it's been like a battle back and forth every day. It's been always a little bit different. So if you're heading out there, make sure you bring a heavy rig for night jigging. That's still been working as well. So definitely bring at least a 100-pound setup, and then like a 30 to 40-pound setup for daytime fly line, or maybe a sinker rig. Maybe slide up to 50. Maybe if you're feeling if you can get a bite on it. But that's what's going on. Some of this fish has been sliding back home between the west and east butterfly. So if you don't feel like traveling the distance, this is a lot closer to home. And there's been a couple, not a whole lot going on. I mean, not a lot of volume of fish, but they're seeing them. I know they got a couple over 100 the other day. So good signs of fish kind of sliding closer to home. And that's also kind of in the story up here, guys. I mentioned on my trip that I saw some tuna up here closer to home. And we saw some bluefin definitely near the upper finger. and upper Hidden Bank area. And it seems like guys are seeing more and more of it. Even the San Diego saw some the other day. So if you're going on these trips, I know typically you're going to do a lot of kilt patty fishing for yellowtail, especially the 226, 230, 371. This kind of area is always kind of hot for that. But make sure you bring your usual fly line rig, 30-pound setup, and then make sure you bring something heavy. Because if you run into this stuff and it bites, you're going to be really upset if you get smoked on a 30-pound setup when you got 100-pound tunas going around. So also seeing that same type of action down here, between the upper 500 and the upper Hidden Bank as well. So kind of on this chloroline. I know it's a little broken up, probably hard to see in here, and these charts don't exactly help it make it look easier. But that's what we got going on. This stuff has not quite gone away yet. Just when we get towards the end of the season here, thinking we're going to hang it all up and starting to see this bluefin come back in closer to home again. So keep your eyes out. Coronado Islands, not a whole lot going on, guys. Still green and turned over. No one's really been fishing it either. They're bypassing this stuff to fish offshore for the kilt patty yellowtail, which is still going to be that smaller grade stuff, 6, 7 pound, maybe 8-pound stuff. Nothing huge, but that's what's going on, guys. Meanwhile, the rest of the stuff inside, you saw it's still pretty green, turned over. Not a whole lot going on, especially in the Inner Banks area where the oil closure was. So, but that's it, guys. Stay safe out the water, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. If you like what you saw today, you can subscribe to our channel or follow us along on Instagram and Facebook. And always remember, share the stoke.